Welcome to the show.
Here I am once again, making a podcast just for you. Don't know why, decide to sing a song.
I'm a bit crazy today. I don't know. I feel a bit hyped, and I'm really looking forward to you guys listening to this podcast. My guest today is known as the Bucket List Guy. The reason why he's called that is because he is the CEO of the Bucket List Coach. He helps people, and he now has a whole crew of people working for him that are helping people achieve their bucket lists. Now, when we think of bucket lists, we always think of, ticking off things we do before we die. That's why it's the bucket list, because, before we kick the bucket. But what Trav does is he's telling people that why wait until it's retirement kind of age, I suppose we're going to get to an age where we're going to struggle to do certain things because our bodies won't hold out and things like that. And also, Trav is saying that don't let it be a dramatic or traumatic event that makes you, you actually kick into this and start doing the things that you want to do. A really poignant thing that he said on his TEDx talk, which is in the link to this bio of the podcast, is people are dying at 40 but being buried at 80. And I loved that. I heard that and it resonated, and I know exactly what he's talking about. And I've seen people do it myself. They just kind of stop. They just, that's it. Or I'm resigned to, I've got kids now and I'm paying my bills, or whatever. It could be the reverse, like my kids have grown up and I'm married. I've been married for 20 years and this is my life now, and it's just the same. Just go to work, do the same old shit day in, day out. Well, no, that's not what it's about. And Travis is saying that we should be living our bucket list. We should have our bucket list hand in hand with our daily lives, our work, our families, and everything else. As I said, go and watch his TEDx talk. Be nice if you listen to this first before you shoot off and do that. But yeah, listen to the podcast, see what you think. Travis is a great guy. I threw it back a little. I know Aussies are sort of got a good sense of humour. So although I got Trav up really early and we started this podcast at like 7 a.m. his time, he was still in good spirits, and we went in with a quick fire round just to get to know Trav a little bit. And we took it from there and I had a blast. So hope you guys enjoy it. Hey Trav, welcome to the show.
Richard, stoked to be here.
It's great, man. You're the first Australian that I've had on this podcast, by the way. So,
oh my God, it's going to be. That's. I don't know whether to be excited for you or disappointed.
No, I know you Aussies have got a good sense of humour. So, I want to just drop you straight in the deep end now. It's 10:10. At night where I am, so it's first thing in the morning. Is it 7:10 where you are now?
It is 9 or 7 right now, Friday morning, mate. So this is, you are extra special, I tell you.
Well, listen, man, I really appreciate you doing this.
Good,
try to get your brain working. As I was just saying before this started, mine's starting to slow down now at the end of my day. So I'm going to try and keep upbeat and try and get you up. So what I'm going to do, chuck you straight in the deep end, and we're going to get a little bit of a get to know you section. So I'm going to do a quick fire round of questions, and we'll go from there.
Cool.
Okay. So how do you start your day?
Well, talking to Richard Horvath, that's how that's how I'd love to start every day. Who wouldn't? No, I get up cold. Well, I haven't been riding lately, but I normally get up and ride. It's been pretty cold, and I've been a little bit soft, to be honest. So I go out, meet the boys. And
hold up, hang on a minute here.
Yeah,
it's been a little cold. You live in Australia, right?
Here we go. All right. So
what's cold to you?
Okay, so it's been a little bit cold. You didn't let me finish the end of that sentence, mate. And we've got this whole COVID-19 thing. I don't know if you're aware of this. So, look, it's been cold. So I've been soft, and I'm in the south of Australia. These are all massive excuses that I wouldn't tolerate if someone told me these. So I've just been soft. Okay, so confession, I've been soft and I have not been riding. So I've just been getting up, having a cold shower, and then going and getting that long black, which I had just before this podcast. And it was very strong. And normally my daily routine starts with getting a coffee. I've got to get that within about half an hour of waking up. Otherwise, I'm intolerable. And then so we do a lot of business in America and other parts of the world. So I'm up, and I unfortunately straight into work most days. Replying to messages so before they clock off overseas, and yeah. But my day is very, very structured. I must admit, being an entrepreneur, you've got to have these rules in place. You've got to have these launch sequences in place. Normally, I am meeting the boys to go out for a ride, and then we have we'll do a 30, 40K ride, and then it's that's a really good routine that I'm not into at the moment, because I'm part of a cycling club, and with lockdowns and everything going on right now, and isolations.
Yeah.
It's we've kind of been scattered. You're not allowed to be seen in big groups of bike riders, and now we've got face mask. You got to wear face masks and all this sort of stuff. So
you're going through the same thing as us then. So you might be right across the other side of the world, but I'm the same.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is pretty bad. But I'm the same. I'm finding a lot of excuses. I used to run every morning. I used to go to the gym. I used to do these high intensity classes, and then obviously when the gym shut down, it was like, right, I'll go running. Did a bit of cycling as well. Very much similar to you, but I've really fell off the bandwagon as well. So yeah, I think
with all that being said, mate, let me finish how I finish my day. Let's not start with it. How I finish my day. So every single night, because our local gym is still open. So 20, right. I think it's 20 is the limit. So my partner and I, we go to the gym every single night. So that's it. We go there
awesome.
At 5:30 or 6 o'clock every single night. Have done for years and years, and that's a really important part of how I bookend the end of my day. Especially working from home, you've got to have these routines in place. So it helps me get out of work mode and sort of pattern interrupt my own brain to then be present for the kids and to get that break from work to life sort of thing. So we do that every single night religiously.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So here's me people are being smug about how they start the day, and here's you just like smashing it at the end of the day. Love it. Let's move on. So
bike ride at the start, it's gym and it's gym at the end.
Awesome, man. That's cool. Favorite word?
Bucket list.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Oh, wow. Double coated Tim Tams. They're a biscuit, chocolate coated, and they are like heroin for me right now. I've never had heroin,
nice.
but I'd imagine they're pretty friggin' addictive.
Fair play, man. I have heard of Tim Tams, but
they're very Australian.
I've never actually seen them. Right.
Mention a Tim Tam to any Australian, and they'll melt.
Fair enough. I'll remember that one. Best book you've ever read?
Ooh, wow. That's a good question, man. Wow. I'm looking around. I'm surrounded by my books right now, and probably one of the most poignant books I've ever read was Happier by Tal Ben-Shahar, PhD. So this is at a very poignant time in my life. I read that book, and it's around positive psychology. In that, I did an exercise called the MPS process. The MPS is like 3 intersecting circles, if you can imagine that, in a Venn diagram. And the MPS stands for what gives you meaning, what gives you pleasure, and what are your strengths. And in the middle is your calling. A really cool exercise. And I did this at a time in my life where I was not in a good place. And I did that, and that helped me to realign, recalibrate on what I really wanted to do. And that helped me actually form the Bucket List Guy, funnily enough.
Oh, that sounds awesome, man. You'll have to give me the name of that again at the end, and I'll stick that in the bio for the listeners.
Yeah, cool.
All right, cardio or weights?
both.
Okay, good answer. Best place you've ever visited?
Oh, gee. Mate, I run around the world as a bucket list guy, so that is impossible. But I'll try.
Especially why I've asked you this question, though, because you are well travelled. So,
Jesus, you had to do this, didn't you? I can't think this straight. 7 a.m. in the morning, mate. Look, I'm going to say one of the most out there places was Advanced Base Camp on Mount Everest in Tibet.
all right, sweet.
Which is we went to a place called Crampon Point. Crampon Point is the highest place in the world that you can trek to without putting your crampons on the northern side of Mount Everest. So I know I was with my dad. So
as far as you'll go without having to be like a mountaineer.
Yeah.
Or a Sherpa.
Yeah. Or I'm a surfer, so I was real a duck out of water. But you've got the Machu Picchu's, you've got the last year I went to Cinque Terre in Italy, and I walked Cinque Terre with Tracy, my partner, and that was unbelievable. That was a big one for her on her bucket list, and spent Machu Picchu 40th birthday. I spent at Machu Picchu the day of my 40th birthday, which is quite a spiritual moment. There's so many.
Sounds perfect as well, because they say life starts at 40. So it sounds perfect, like to be spiritual and have that almost rebirth.
Yeah, and it was just after doing the Inca Trail, and I took a bunch of people to the Inca Trail and to do the Inca Trail, and then I finished on the day of my 40th birthday. That was pretty special. Through to, the experiences that you have the Burning Man Festival, if you know of that, out in the desert, seeing the sun come up, and that was, that's an amazing experience. There's been a lot, man, but those experiences are all well and good if done by yourself, but better shared.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
that sounds great, man. And the last question is, what is the most nerve-wracking thing you've ever done?
The most nerve-wracking thing that I've ever done was actually putting on my first bucket list. Well, it was my first seminar, because I was quite shy. So that was the big domino, that me being a public speaker. So I'm a professional speaker now, as in amongst everything else that I do. But being a public speaker was the most, and putting on an event and speaking in public officially for the first kind of time was very nerve-wracking. But that for me was the big domino that I had to push over in my life to affect a lot of other areas of my life, which I've done. It gave me a level of confidence and a level of self-belief that has really had a ripple effect into every area of my life. That's a serious one. The other serious one, the other non-serious one, is part of my bucket list. I was a nude model for an art class, a life drawing class. That was terrifying.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, man. So yes, the true story.
Have you still got the picture? Did anybody give you the picture, or did they take that away, or has anybody put one of this picture online?
No, there's no pictures online, thank God. Yeah, I've got some pictures. It's not as flattering as I thought it'd be, but anyway, maybe that's the artist, and maybe they had a. It's not me, man. It's surely it's the artist and their perception. No,
maybe it was one of them cold days again.
Well, that's the thing, man. Here's some tips for your listeners. Especially guys, if you're thinking about doing this as part of your bucket list. Number one, and this is fair to go. Number one, don't do it in the middle of winter. I seriously did it in the middle of winter. Lucky there was a little bit of heat in the room. It was all good. So it's already, like, I grew up as a surfer and a swimmer, a surf lifesaver, and I grew up in Speedos pretty much. And going next level, taking the bathers off or as we call them in Australia, budgie smugglers.
Budgie smugglers, yeah.
Taking those off in front of 15 people behind easels was terrifying. So I've gone into this thing. They paid me $50 too, which I feel like a cheap whore. But
Sweet. Cheap whore.
They gave me $50. So I've derobed in front of people, and it was just like, it's terrifying. You're sitting there you're standing there, super awkward. Number one, don't do it in the middle of winter. Number two, don't do it in the coffee shop. Don't do it in the art studio that's next to the coffee shop where you get coffee every single morning. Where it just so happens the gay barista also likes art, doesn't he? So from there on, I
do you get discount now when you go in and see him?
Yeah, I get free coffee in a week. So, and number three, and when I do these talks, I do talk about this story and get some laughs. Little did I know, I was 5 minutes into my posing routine, which was super awkward. And then in walks this girl. And I'm like, oh, she's going to jump behind an easel, isn't she? And she's going to paint me. All right, get in line, grab yourself an easel. No, she's also a model, a life drawing model.
Okay.
Takes off all her clothes, derobes, stands next to me. I'm like, oh. Now she's younger and hotter. I'm like, and I'm heterosexual. And I'm like, oh, yep. Fuck. I'm in trouble here. Like that whole thing, don't look, Trav, don't look. So what do? You look. And so let's just say I've done a lot of psychology work. Positive psychology is the basis for our bucket list teachings, neuro-linguistic programming, a lot of this sort of stuff. I've done a lot of courses, a lot of certificates. And let's just say I had to channel all of that shit to quote unquote talk it down, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
it was the hardest unintended 20 minutes, half an hour of my life. Yeah. So there you go. There's a visual.
That could have been so awkward.
So there's a visual. Yeah. Yeah. So that was I think that answers your question, man.
Wicked. And that was the last question. So yeah, there were some good answers, man. There were some strong answers. For 7 o'clock in the morning, there were strong answers. So that's a great start to the podcast. I mean, what I want to pick up on is that you mentioned multiple times there, bucket list. The things you've done in the past. You're a personal trainer, health and fitness coach, podcaster, vlogger, keynote speaker, personal development coach, and you're now the bucket list guy.
Yeah.
So can you explain to the listeners a little bit about the bucket list? I mean, I know that probably a lot of people listening have seen the film Bucket List.
Yeah.
So they'll probably understand the concept of that. But yeah, if you want to just explain a little bit about you and where it all started.
The first 20 years of I've always worked for myself. So the first 20 years of my working life I was a personal trainer. So I started personal training in the early 90s. I'm a little bit older, 46 or 47, I forget. When you get to 45, you just start forgetting. A little bit of grey in the whiskers, but I started personal training and did that for 20 years. Started with one client, grew it to tens of thousands of clients across Australia. I was the first to franchise personal training studios in Australia. Did nearly 2 million personal training sessions, had a bunch of studios, personal training studios and gyms and stuff around Australia, a bunch of personal trainers working under that umbrella. And then I had my own breakdown before breakthrough kind of moment. Some stuff was going on in the business and in life, and I found myself slipping into depression. And then I found myself, as a result, instead of going on full-on antidepressants, I thought, no, I don't want to put a Band-Aid over this. I want to get to the root cause. So I found myself in life coaching courses, learning all the stuff that I've mentioned before, NLP, how to be a life coach, important. And all that personal development, positive psychology stuff. Hence why I mentioned that book before. That was a really poignant time. And so it was actually, and I spent a whole heap of money, you know, every weekend for about a year. I was in courses. If you put it on, I would have bought it. And it was actually at the tail end of that, a friend of mine said, "Hey, why don't you teach this shit?" That was his quote. "Why don't you teach this shit? You'd be great." And for me, that helped me compartmentalize why I was there. You know, I'm a teacher by trade, not a trade, but I love educating. I love helping people. It's one of my highest values. And so I summed up the courage, and I put on an event, and then started sharing my list to do before I die. I'd always had one written down since I was 18. Not a lot of people knew this about me. I had about 40 people in the room of this first event that I put on, and I was terrified. And it inspired the group, and then someone at the end of it said, "Oh, how's all this list to do before you die stuff? It's like a bucket list. You're like the bucket list guy." I went, light bulb moment. And went home and registered thebucketlistguy.com, and I've been doing that ever since. So with no idea how the hell I was going to make money from it, how I was going to make a business out of it, but I knew it just felt right. And so that's been my online superhero brand, I guess, for the last 10 years. And so primarily as a speaker, and I thought, how, you know, I've had, honestly, mate, it's funny. I'd love to complain, but I really can't. You know, I've been living a dream life by design. You know,
yeah, that's great though, because you've
thought behind this. You know, and people go, "Oh, you're so lucky you do it." Oh, mate,
you made your own luck though. You're not just lucky.
100%.
You know what you said there. You didn't know how you was going to make money, but you just did it, and that's the biggest thing is action and putting these things into action, these thoughts and dreams, really.
Yeah, it feels crazy because, you know, if I'm on a plane and you know how you do the introductions, you know, "G'day, what do you do? G'day, what do you do?" You know, and I literally, this is how I introduce myself. And I go, you know, people call me the bucket list guy. I run around the world doing my bucket list, and companies, associations, conferences pay me to speak about it at their conference, and I inspire others to do the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's
my
awesome.
bucket list for the last 10 years has been a tax deduction.
Nice. That's always a bonus.
Yeah. Still to this day, my accountant says, "Oh, hey, Trav, you know, you're not as dumb as you look, are you?" Yeah, it's like, yeah, mate. So
thanks, mate.
yeah, thanks heaps. But no, I've been doing that, you know, primarily as a keynote speaker, as a coach. I do some mentoring of other speakers as well on what they call a CSP, a Certified Speaking Professional, which is this level of accreditation for professional speakers. And I did the TED Talk, which you may have seen, called "Life's Too Short." And
I did see that TED Talk. That was fantastic. I loved that.
Yeah, and I introduced and unpacked a concept called the My Bucket List Blueprint in that. And it was actually just, and that really helps people create a personally meaningful and holistic bucket list. And I'm sure you got some ideas from that. It was actually just after that TED Talk, I was invited to do a keynote presentation for a company called Action Coach. They're a big business coaching franchise around the world.
Okay.
You know, like 2,000 coaches, 70 odd countries. I went down there. I was invited down there to South Africa to do a talk to their top coaches at their global conference, and I did the thing. And then the founder said, "Hey, have you ever thought about allowing other people to teach you stuff?" And I'm like, no, this is what makes me special. This is my niche, you know.
Yeah.
Mine. And he said, I reckon you could really help a lot more people by allowing other people to teach you stuff. And I thought about it, and I you know, at that
makes
time,
a lot of sense.
I wanted to help more people because, you know, like that's one of my highest values. And the frustrating thing about being a speaker is you fly in, you fly out, you fly in, you give a message, you might disrupt, and maybe some people act on what you're teaching.
Yeah, definitely.
And I can only help so many people in my lifetime. So I decided to leverage and set up a new business, which was Certified Bucket List Coach. So now, 2.5 years later, we've now got certified bucket list coaches around the world in 21 nearly 22 countries, all certified by us and teaching my stuff, which is awesome. So I play, apart
That
from
is
the
awesome.
I also play founder CEO of that coaching group. My team and I, are building that. Now, the coolest thing about that, man, is all of our certified bucket list coaches are now teaching us stuff in places I'd never get to in my lifetime, with people I'd never been in contact in my lifetime, which is what it's all about. So we're really having a bigger impact, and that's the beauty of what we've created.
Yeah, you've created something amazing. I didn't even realize actually that you'd expanded that far and that you've done that. So that's fair play to you, man. Well done. And like you say, the more people you can touch, the more people you can help. That's great. Watching the TED Talk, I was inspired, and I was like, do you know something? I'm 35 and I haven't got a bucket list. And when you think about it, you think, it's a little bit cliche and stuff like that. But there is always things in my head what I want to do. One of the things I want to do, actually, is go to Australia. That's something that myself, my wife, we've always wanted to do. So I guess that's something that's on my bucket list. But there was something that you said in that speech I thought was so powerful. And you said that people are dying at 40 but being buried at 80.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And I completely know what you're saying. I've seen some of those people myself that, like, you get to that middle age, let's say, and it's like, I've kind of done everything, and they get stuck in the ways and don't really have any drive to move on or do anything or reach these goals that they had 10 years ago. They feel like it's too late now. It's too far gone.
Yeah.
As you said there in that speech.
Yeah, look,
40
people
years.
give up, mate. I see it every day, and people are living by default rather than by design. And
yes, exactly.
People get, that they. This is why we have this concept called the midlife crisis. People are sleepwalking through their life, and it's not until something traumatic or dramatic that happens to them or a loved one that they wake up. What I mean by that, it's not until we get given a use-by date, just like the movie. Not until we get given a use-by date is that shakes us to the core, some people. And that's the wake-up. That's the unfortunate wake-up that a lot of people get. So my whole philosophy, my whole reason for being is I want to help wake people up before they get given a use-by date. Right?
Yeah.
And stop waiting until someday, because that ain't a day of the week or the perfect time. There is no perfect time. And it's not just about travel. Obviously your bucket list is not just about coming to Australia. It's a we've got 12 steps. It's a 12-step acronym that I introduced and unpacked in that TED Talk that helps people be happier now, not live in this delayed gratification society, because we do live in a delayed gratification society. I'll be happy when syndrome. So
yes,
and people will sacrifice their happiness now to enjoy later. But you and I both know we've got countless examples of where people have just sucked it up and got on with it, and then to retire and to enjoy these last 5-10 years or drop off the perch way too early. It's like, that's madness, man. I want people to be happier now, because if you look at the stats of depression, of mental health, of anxiety, we've got this thing called a loneliness epidemic now. The rate of suicides, and it's just got worse with Corona, of course. And that shit's not going away. And the overprescription of antidepressants is going through the roof. And this is not just in adults. This is in youth. This is in teenagers. So something's fucked up. And
massively.
I want, I've been doing this stuff for 10 years, banging the same drum. And I know that it's turned the lights on. It's woke people. It's given people the tools to be able to really, go forth, and instead of going down that slippery slope of just sleepwalking through your life, living by default, just existing and not living, it's woken people up to another perspective, another filter to run their life through, another set of tools so they can get on the front foot and purposely design their happiness. This whole bucket list it's not just about, writing a list and then ticking a whole bunch of cool stuff off. It's really how a person reverse engineers every aspect of their life in order to make this stuff come to fruition. It's the growth of them on that journey towards these destinations, these self-imposed destinations. More importantly, man, it's about the person, you and I, that exists on the other side of the bucket list. The person that we do not know yet. That's called our potential. When we experience more of our own potential, that puts a smile on our face. That is happiness. The Dalai Lama said happiness is the meaning of life. There's not everyone's happy.
No,
I want to get the tools. Instead of being the happiness guy, I'm the bucket list guy. But at the end of the day, I think I want people to have more meaning, more purpose, more fulfillment in their life and live a regret-free life rather than a regret-full life. So
I like that you say that, living a regret-free life, because that kind of sums up what you were saying, because you will get to a certain age and you will just be looking back and say, I regret that I didn't do that earlier, because as you mentioned about people doing stuff after retirement, how much stuff could you have done 20 years earlier that you can't now do because you're too old to do it because, I don't know, your body's giving out on you?
Exactly. And yeah, that's a regret, and I'm talking about, like, I've got a real good example in that in my dad. He's 75 now. We've done a lot of, since me becoming the bucket list guy over the last 10 years, he's traveled around the world with me. He
awesome.
sacrificed, he was in the same job as a mechanic, as a fitter and turner from the age of 16 through to retirement, right? And he regrets not doing a lot of the travel that we've since done since his retirement earlier. And he wasn't overly happy doing what he's done. And we've really become great mates because of my whole bucket list, my whole bucket list philosophy. And I've said to Dad straight up, I was like, because of your example, because you've worked hard, put food on the table, put a roof over our head, and provided and sacrificed your happiness, because of you, that's been the example as to why I do what I do now. You provide a really crappy example of that I've learned from. So thanks, Dad. And he's like, Jesus, I didn't know, that he, I've done everything opposite to what Dad's done. Everything opposite.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be like Dad, because he was kind of angry, and unhappy. And I don't want that for myself, and I don't want to set that example for my kids. And
so he stayed in his job for his whole life, but didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, but how many? Yeah, didn't. Well, he enjoyed parts of it, of course, but for the majority, I'm not just speaking about my dad. I'm speaking about a lot of people. If this goes into America, there's the stats are 87% of people who go to work every day in America, this is pre-corona, don't like what they do. They're what they call disengaged. It's about 70% in the UK, 70% in Australia as well. 70% of people who go to work every day don't like what they do. And it's like,
well, I've spoken to people from America as well, and they don't get holidays. Like it doesn't, it's not like some people do, but it might be like 5 days annual leave and things like that. But it's not like a statutory thing. We have to get holidays here in the UK, like probably minimum of say 20 if you're full-time employed, 37 to 40 hours a week. But in America that's not done, and I can imagine why they resent working, because it's just like living in this this sort of hamster wheel, just going round and round. You're not actually getting anywhere.
Yeah, and that the mental health ramifications that come with that are scary, man. And I'm not telling everyone to drop what they're doing and go and try and run around the world and live life on a hammock. It's not about that. But we live in a really interesting time. We're recording this in the middle of the coronavirus and the lockdowns and the quarantines and all that sort of thing. And the interesting thing right now is people are really recalibrating on on what their life looks like and recalibrating on their happiness. And a lot of people are being retrenched, changing jobs, but they are discovering new ways of existing. I think this whole work-life concept is being shaken to the core right now, and people are redesigning right now. And because there is no old normal to go back to. It is about, designing that new normal for you. So I think, if people are listening to this, take the opportunity right now and start to redesign, recalibrate on what that actually looks like for you. And that's that's my wish. Our jobs for our business, it should do two things and two things only. It should spit out the time flow and the cash flow for us to do our bucket list items, right? Let's get clear on what these bucket list items are. I've got over 350 things I've got to do. I get pulled out of bed in the morning and I make decisions quick because, especially in my business, because I want to just get on with it, to leverage my time, leverage my bandwidth, leverage myself so my family and I can go out and enjoy it. And my wish for everyone is to get a vehicle that allows that time flow, that cash flow to allow you to go and live your bucket list. But more important, I think the holy grail is actually enjoying whatever vehicle you choose. So maybe it's a good line in the sand for us to draw for ourselves at this point in time to see what is next. What does my new normal actually look like going forward? I think it's a rare moment.
It really is.
Where everyone's taking that big, deep breath in.
Yeah, I've got a friend who I've had on the podcast, and he's a personal trainer, and he actually took the time to start building his own business, and he's got his own studio and everything. And as much as you were a personal trainer yourself. Yeah. It's a personal thing. You need clients. You need to be with those clients, but during this time, you can't do that. So we put on some, Zoom exercise classes, and he just took it from there. He said, I had this discussion with him about COVID and how it was affecting him and his work. And he said, you know what? I've just taken it as a way to sort of be creative, take a little step back, because he was just stuck in this, this thing that just go around again, like I was saying, where it was like every day the same thing. It was a structured routine, and he worked between multiple gyms because he was self-employed anyway. Yeah. But he was doing bits for gyms, and he wasn't being paid. It was sort of like he got free rent to do his PT sessions in. And he wasn't happy, and he hadn't been happy for a while, and he used that time to be creative, to start putting his plans in place. And now we're coming out, sort of out of the lockdown, or at least it's easing, and gyms are opening again. And he's got his own studio, which is fully equipped. It went from a bare shell to, he's had all the decorating done. He's got all the equipment in. He's got the music system, everything. And it's great. And I'm like, more of us need to do that. Exactly like you said. But one of the things that you've talked about is having this tangible life plan. Now, I liked how you used the word tangible, because when I have people talking about doing things, and people like yourself, people always think that, oh, well, this guy, got lucky, or he had it easy, or there was something, he got a loan, or you're talking about it being tangible because you're making it happen in a certain way, right? So people can't, what I'm trying to get across is, a lot of people think, well, they've got like a limiting mindset where they're like, well, I can't do that because I've got this my job, I have to do this, and I've got kids, and all those things that we all have in life.
I've heard it all before. Yeah, man. I say bucket list is a tangible life plan, where our career plan or our business plan should fit into our life plan, not the other way around. So it's funny because, we talk about, I haven't got this, I haven't got that, the other guy has got a lucky break, and we're all, look, the thing is, okay, I'm not a motivational speaker. I just talk like reality. Here's the deal.
Yeah.
If you were given 6 months to live, right, you're actually given that use by day. It's funny how you become infinitely resourceful to then suddenly create and I've seen it. You probably have too, and everyone's got an example of where people have been given a use by date, and then suddenly they reprioritize on the things that they want to do, they want to make them happy, or that make them happy, that give them meaning and purpose, and suddenly they've found the time, they've found the money, and because they've got a massive why, they've got a really strong why, whereas they didn't have one before. But
there's no time for procrastination at that point as well, because that's what it's about. Everybody's procrastinating and putting it off.
It's not a matter of resources; it's a matter of resourcefulness. And if you want to do something bad enough, you'll find a way. But we don't have that gun to your head kind of motivation or inspiration. And so, focus on the what and the why you want to do things on your bucket list. Don't worry about the how. The how will work itself out. The how. The how will work itself out if the why is strong enough. If the why is strong enough, the how will work itself out.
Yeah, no, that's a great way of looking at it, and it really is, And I've seen other people, and like myself, I've put things off, but when I've really tried and put my mind to something, or I've been pushed into having to do something because because of a limited time frame or whatever, just exactly like you said, you suddenly become a lot more resourceful, and we're all capable of it. It's not something that I have in me that other people don't have, but it's just putting all that into action. Yeah. Yeah, no, because and do you know another thing that I wanted to pick up on is that you use some great sort of terminologies, which kind of struck a chord with me, like Mondayitis, hump day, TGI Friday, the feeling you get, that sinking feeling on a Sunday. When I was listening to you talking about this, I was like, I've used all of these. I think Mondayitis was a new one, actually. Hump day,
Mondayitis.
Thank God it's Friday, or thank fuck it's Friday. And the sinking feeling, like I've had that. But yeah, it's like, and it is though, isn't it? It is that cycle. And I suppose when you were saying it, I was like, oh, maybe in our heads, we should be thinking like, well, it's just a day, instead of putting a name to it, that it is Monday, that it is Wednesday, Friday, whatever. It's just a day, and it's another day to go and attack and be as creative and as positive and resourceful as we can possibly be on that given day.
Or just change your life completely, so this is actually not even part of your vernacular.
Yeah, because they are. I mean, TGI Friday.
It's the vocabulary of the Matrix. It really is. It's the vocab that we all use, and we all buy into. This is part of the system, and unfortunately, it's a bit of a default living for some.
How do you change that mindset? I mean, is that how have you changed that mindset? If you've changed that vernacular yourself,
I've never really bought into that. I've never really, I've never really bought into that, because remember, I've always been an entrepreneur, so I'm kind of giving you that because of my audiences of people that I've been around, and they're all saying it. I'm not, but again, we the language of the masses, I guess. How do you change the mindset? Well, you change.
You just change. Yeah.
I mean,
there's no bullshit there. There's no magic, like kind of self-help stuff you're giving.
I could give you some magic. I mean, but it's like, just fucking change. Like, I'll go old school boot camp on your ass, and like, if you're not happy, fucking change. Like, seriously, not for the sake of you. Don't, like, I don't know if you've got kids or anything. Like, change for the sake of your family. Change for the sake of your relationship. If you're not happy, change. Life is way too fucking short, And here's the thing, and this is the weirdest thing that I hear, which is when I go and do talks, I say, a bucket list is a self-leadership exercise. It's It's about helping you put your own oxygen mask on first before you can help others, right?
Yeah.
And we're all out there trying to please everyone else, including our family. But I give everyone permission when they hang out with me. I give everyone permission to put their own oxygen mask on first before they can help others. So most commonly, we get feedback is, through our coaches, and I have over the last 10 years, is people saying, thank you for giving me permission to dream again and to be selfish with my time. And selfish has got negative connotation, but I'm like, thank you for giving me permission again. Whoa, what the fuck has happened here?
Yeah. It is strange how people think and how they stop. And, well, or I say they, I mean, even I do it myself, how we forget to spend time on ourselves. We're happy going out there, pleasing others and pleasing our bosses and friends and all that kind of stuff, even people we don't know on social media. Yet we don't give ourselves any of that time. We don't spend time on ourselves to make ourselves happy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And we're all out there, comparing our behind the scenes footage with someone else's highlights reel.
Yeah.
So we need to take time out of our lives to work on our lives. The best thing that people can do, the best recommendation I can give anyone listening to this is take time out this weekend and actually put pen to paper on your bucket list. Have a look at the TED Talk, put pen to paper on the bucket list and actually get it out of your head. And, extract it and then articulate it and write it down, because we get a 42% more likelihood of it actually manifesting if you actually write stuff down, believe it or not. See, right now, your to-do list is up there with your bucket list, and guess which one gets done on a first come, first served basis on a day-to-day basis. So it's your daily to-do list, and it's not until something dramatic happens to you or a loved one that gives you the shake-up that you suddenly reprioritize on your bucket list.
Yeah, it's so true. So, I mean, without going into it, what I will do is I'll put a link up in the bio anyway for your TED Talk, so people can go and sort of see that and watch the video. But sort of in a nutshell, can you kind of just sort of sum that up when you talk about, it's kind of a 12-step or a 12 it's an acronym, isn't it? So
yeah, it's a 12-step acronym. So it's designed. I designed it because a lot of people think of bucket list as about travel. So travel is one of the 12 components, and unfortunately, travel takes a lot of money and time to put together for a lot of people. So and again, they might save all their travel bucket list for later on in life. And that later on in life might not even come down. Or come to fruition. So I want to be happier. I want people to be happier now. So I put together the My Bucket List Blueprint to help people go north, south, east, west in their own brain and help them, extract and articulate a personally meaningful and holistic bucket list. So it's very, very, very individual for a lot of people. But yeah, my bucket list. So it's M, meet a personal hero. Y stands for your proud achievements. B, buy that special something, whether it be for yourself or for someone else. U, ultimate challenges. C, conquer a fear. K, kind acts for others. E, express yourself. T, take lessons, some skills that you want to learn. L, leave a legacy. I, idiotic stuff. S, satisfy curiosity. And T is travel adventures. That'll help. That'll keep you busy.
Yeah. Which one of those do you find that was like most powerful for you when you was crossing off your bucket list? Which one of those, or most helpful, or just generally what was your favorite?
Nah, there's no favorite, to be honest. Like I'm doing 5 things on my list right now. It's not, and you just keep adding until you die. And then we've got this other concept called the reverse bucket list. And the reverse bucket list is everything you've done in your life. Is if it were on a bucket list and all the things that you cross off, go to your reverse bucket list. But for me, I guess what rounded it out is leave a legacy and kind acts for others. I did all that when I was, single, and I was running around the world doing stupid shit. all the idiotic stuff, but it grows and evolves as you mature. It grows and evolves with when you've got different people in your life. It grows and evolves to be shared. It grows and evolves as you go, when you're in different phases of your life. So, some of the things that I've done on my bucket list, I couldn't imagine doing now. I'd probably hurt myself.
But it's part of you and it's part of the whole journey. I mean, what I was going to ask is, and I suppose you've kind of answered it, is because some people will look at it and go, yeah, it's a bit far out of reach and I ain't got time and I've got the children. Can you, let's say, would it be a good idea? Okay. There you go.
I know what you're going to ask. And
go on, then.
Yeah, look, time, kids, working, okay, good excuses. Well, then don't do it.
Well, what I was going to say is, can you start off with a small bucket list? So using the same methodology, but just start off with some small things. You don't have to travel somewhere because ultimately, I think when people think of bucket list, they associate that with the most wackiest things, like I'm going to go skydiving, or I'm going to travel to that
marathon. It's the climbing Mount Everest. It's all this crazy. Like it's like got to be a sponsored Red Bull athlete. So no, you don't have to be an extreme athlete. No, it's about the small things, mate. This is helping people identify the small things, the doable things that don't require a lot of time and money. Don't impact the kids or the family life. Don't have to travel. That's why I created it in the first place, because those crossing off those small ones gives you the momentum and motivation to smash through the bigger ones. It's about choosing happiness, choosing the things that give you meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in your life. So I want people to get those early wins, give them a glimmer of hope, give them that positive reinforcement, and then it's pretty contagious after a while.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly the same thing. I think, once you've started and you've done a small bucket list, let's say, then you'll probably be a hell of a lot more encouraged to go for some of those bigger goals.
Yeah.
And get that done. Because I tell you what, once we've done this podcast, I'll be going to bed. But after that, the next day, this weekend, I'm putting a bucket list together because
you said the next day, this weekend. Which is it?
I'm procrastinating.
Yeah, I know.
Friday's a weekend, man. TGI Friday.
I'm a little bit tired, and Friday you're busy doing whatever. And then this weekend, and then that'll become. I'll do it next week. And
fuck, man. Now you've called me out. All right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to do. And so all I'm hearing is some excuses, man. I'm just here's what my challenge to you, Richard. All right, go on.
You are the host of this amazing podcast. All right,
thank you.
Now I'm going to call you out. You're going to write down your bucket list and you're going to send it to me.
I'll do it,
and we're going to post it publicly.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
You're going to send it to me. You're going to either email it to me. You're going to send it to me on Instagram. Are we mates on Instagram yet? Probably are.
No, I think I might have just connected with you on the personal, but I'll connect with you on the podcast Instagram as well.
Yeah. So do all that, and don't try and unfriend me now that I've made you accountable. So. But you're going to send me your bucket list, man, and I'm going to hold you accountable to it.
Yeah, definitely. No, 100%. I'm going to do it. And I'll tell you my excuse, why I was saying about tomorrow and all those other days. I'm currently away, and this bucket list would be not just for me, it would be for the wife as well. And I know she'd be fully on board. So I'll start writing some things down now.
We need to do a couple's bucket list. There we go.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm thinking. We'll probably have our own individual things, but like travel, for instance, we're definitely going to be doing that together. So, that's it. Now you've called me out. I've got to do it, and I can't wait.
And here's the beautiful thing. So, listeners, and I know if if Richard edits this bit out, you can really call him. You can really call him out. So it's important to have a couples bucket list and also an individual bucket list. Very important. When we go and do this within companies, it's amazing. We have a company bucket list. It's really cool. So I need your bucket list, your partner's bucket list, and your couple's bucket list. All right, you're going to send that to me. And if you do not send this to me, if you do not, I want your listeners to make you accountable and kick your ass. Is that fair enough?
That's fair, man. That's fair. I can't say fairer. You've come on this show. You've blessed me with your presence. You've got up at stupid o'clock in the morning, and so.
Yeah, I'll 100%. If you don't send it to me, I'll hunt you down. I will hunt you down. I can't help myself, mate.
Your Oz is a bit scary like that. When you say stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, no, he will actually do it as well.
I'll crocodile hunt you down.
That Crocodile Dundee.
But no, the thing is, we're not expecting people to, we're not expecting people to go to Mount Everest, skydive or run a marathon in the next 24 hours. It's about just writing this shit down.
Yeah.
Just making this stuff more conscious. Get it out of your head, man, because right now it's swimming up there with your to-do list, what you've got to do tomorrow, and that's what I want for everyone, is to make this more of a conscious exercise. Get it out of your head and onto paper, and then just let's cross the smallest of smallest doable thing off.
Definitely. Where can we find the acronym?
Or go to the TED Talk, Life's Too Short by Trav Bell, or they can go to my website and subscribe there, and we can give them a video on it as well that I've done, and that's thebucketlistguy.com. If people are interested in the coaching side of things and becoming a certified bucket list coach and teaching this stuff out in their parts of the world, in their different industries, and they can go to bucketlistcoach.com. We run a couple of webinars each week, and we can find out more.
That sounds awesome.
And
hey, maybe that's my next move. Maybe I'll get my bucket list in, and then I'll become a bucket list guy coach. It sounds good.
Yeah, that's it. A lot of people have. It's awesome. I love my coaches are just absolutely awesome, and they're helping people all around the world, and that's the legacy. That's the big L, leave a legacy for me.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that when I've spoken to other people who provide service to others is that's something that they get more from than anything else. Like not about the money and things like that. It's actually helping other people. What really kind of feeds their soul, and nourishes them, like internally.
Yeah.
Is that the same? I take it that's the same kind of thing with you.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, I mean, it was all about me at the start, and now it's about we.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, man. Right, we're coming up to an hour. What I want to do now, just before we sort of just put your socials out there, is just give you this one question that I've asked quite a few people, because we all kind of look back at our lives. It's as you get older, you're wiser and things like that. And we all kind of look back and say, oh, I could have done this, I could have changed that. But this isn't that question as such. But I want to know what piece of advice you would have give to 18-year-old Trav, if you could jump in the time machine now.
What I'd do is 18-year-old Trav, I'd say, and I have two kids who are 22 and 23. My advice, and I've got two 13-year-old boys as well, and my advice, I think I gave some of this last night, literally, is don't party as much as I did. Save your money, get a deposit, buy a house as soon as you possibly can.
That's excellent advice, man. Excellent advice. I'd say exactly the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I want all my kids, and they're on a mission. I want all my kids to get into the property market as soon as they possibly can, and that gives you freedom. You can leverage from that. and you know, be their own boss, and don't be at the mercy of your peer group or anything like that, and really focus on these goals of making some early money that will really help you to set up and get into the property market, especially. And then, you know, you can grow businesses from that. You know how it goes. So that's my advice. And you know, don't do whatever, you know, do the crappier jobs. Just do the jobs. Don't go out there and try and find your passion like at 18. Like, just go work hard. Work hard, earn money, get the property, and then you can later on, you know, find your passion, that sort of thing, and you know, step into all the courses and you know, living that lifestyle, that leverage kind of lifestyle. Do it later. Don't worry about that right now. Just go and earn some money. Go and do jobs that may align with what you want to end up doing yourself, and that can be kind of an inbuilt apprenticeship. But at the end of the day, go and earn as much money as you possibly can before you're 18, and go get in the property market. That's what I'd say.
Awesome. Yeah, that's brilliant. And to be fair, some of those shitty jobs that you get when you're younger, they build a lot of character and they can be fun. And it's just, and you know, it's not sort of where you want to be, as long as you understand that this is just the here and now. It's just something to make some money, and you've got your sort of bigger picture drawn out. Then what does it matter?
Yeah, I think we're sold, especially on social media. Kids are sold. You know, live your passion and do your, I don't know, find a career that you love, and you never work a day in your life, and you know, the fact is that worry about that later. You know, just go and work hard. Go and work for a big company and go and learn the ropes. Go and work for a franchise like McDonald's or something like that, and learn how a business actually works before going and doing your own business. Go and do an apprenticeship with someone that runs a big business and learn from it. You know, and the other piece of advice is ask as many questions as you possibly can of people. Act dumb while you're young.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And that's a great thing. People feel stupid to ask questions, but it's a great point.
Up the ego around it. Like, just forget about all that. And you know, like one of my earliest personal training clients was the sixth richest guy in Australia, billionaire, multi-billionaire. And I trained him for 3.5 years. And his advice to me was just, Trav, act dumb while you're young. You know, like I started training him when I was 21, 22. And I started training him really early, and he was a great mentor to me. And I learned, you know, and he's just like, ask as many questions as you possibly can. Just keep asking questions and drop the ego around it. And that's been awesome.
Yeah.
So my advice to 18-year-olds is ask as many questions as you possibly can. People who are successful love paying forward what they've learned. So
you can learn a hell of a lot by asking questions. Hell of a lot.
I mentor young people, and I'm more than willing to help out. Because I think it's better shared. There's a lot of wisdom that needs to be shared, but there's not enough 18-year-olds actually asking the questions.
Yeah, and it's a kind of a weird one, because I've had the same thing just recently. I've been working with a guy, and I don't work on the tools anymore, and I'm more of an account manager, but I've got involved to help out with this job, and the kid that I've been sort of working with is actually leaving the company soon, and he said to me, like, "Oh, I'm glad you're coming, because, you know, if you don't mind, I want to watch you doing this, because you know, I know it's kind of stealing your knowledge." And I was like, "Mate, it's not stealing knowledge. I'm happy to mentor you and pass this stuff on. You know, it's no good just staying with me, is it?" And you know, I'm not the only person that knows what we're talking about. So yeah, if I can help you out in any way, then fair play to you. So I'll always do that.
Incredibly, you know, and as when you get a little bit older, it's incredibly cathartic as well. It's a good thing. And, you know, helping out younger people who are hungry, you know, and if you're going to waste someone's time, then fucking don't don't get in there. Don't ask. Like if you're driven, if you're hungry, if you're passionate, if you're enthusiastic, if you've got goals as an 18-year-old, go out, seek people who have got the wisdom that you need, and get around them. You've got, and the 18-year-olds might be thinking, well, I haven't got anything to offer that person in exchange. Well, yes, you have. You've got time, possibly, and you've got networks that person is not in. Like for me, very busy. If I got an 18-year-old like right now, I need video editing, right now.
Yeah.
I'm more than willing, if I've got a video editor, someone that can watch videos of me and then carve it up and put it on social media, then cool, you've got a job. Awesome. And I'm more than happy to mentor you. Let's do an exchange.
Yeah, exactly. So, like you say, you never know without asking and without just, banging on that door and just keep going. And
not enough people are asking. Not enough people are asking.
Yeah, that was a great point, man. I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm just going to kind of finish this up. Just to let you know, I've followed you on Instagram on the podcast account. So I'm not doing the old, I'm going to back out here. I'm not going to stick to what Trav said, and I'm going to forget about him and edit all the rest of the podcast where you said that I've got to do the bucket list. It's going to happen. So don't worry about that. And, to be fair, I've got to actually thank you for that, because, I could have put it off for a day, 2 days. So now you've held me to it. Thank you very much. And cool. I'll definitely get that over to you. So
now
quickly, let's just
name. I thought you were better, but that's a. Sorry, no, I'm just looking on it.
No, this is why I've got a face for the radio, man.
That's
why we didn't do the video stuff.
Love it. Cool, man.
All right,
excellent.
All right, man. So if you want to just stick your socials out here now, so people can find you on Instagram, wherever else you are, Facebook, Twitter, any of those. Go for it.
Yeah. So it's bucketlistguy.travbell on Instagram, and on LinkedIn and Facebook it's Trav Bell the Bucket List Guy. People can find me there. Send me a message. See if I can help.
Awesome, man. Trav, it's been a pleasure having you on. You've not disappointed Australia. Thank you very much.
Oh, man, great to speak to you, and happy to do a round 2 if you need, if there's requests and stuff too, man. Thanks heaps.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, we'll do it video next time as well.
All right. Cheers.
All right, you take it easy, man.